Welcome to my YouTube channel. As a newcomer to Sweden, finding an apartment can be a daunting task. That's why I've created this video to guide you through the process. In this video, I'll cover essential topics such as general tips for finding an apartment, the importance of securing a housing contract before arriving in Sweden, an overview of the 6 main types of housing contracts, and a list of housing companies city-wise and university-wise. Plus, I'll show you how to apply for a student apartment at Mälardalen University using your student admission letter. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe and like my channel to stay updated on future videos. Let's get started. This promises to be an informative and engaging video for all newcomers to Sweden. Paying a 1 to 2 months deposit or fees in advance is standard for first-hand and student housing contracts in Sweden. But there are risks with second-hand or sublet contracts. Scams or fraudulent activities are possible, so students should verify the credibility of the landlord or primary tenant before making any payments. Always prioritize safety and conduct thorough research before entering into any housing agreements. The monthly rent for a student room or apartment in Sweden can range from around 2,500 Swedish kronor to 6,000 Swedish kronor or more, depending on the several factors. In major cities like Stockholm and Gothenburg, the cost of student housing tends to be higher compared to smaller cities or towns in Sweden. Additionally, student housing in these cities can be more challenging to find due to high demand and limited availability. Here's a concise guide tailored for international students on tips for dealing with housing contracts in Sweden. Receive selection letter after applying through admission.se and being accepted into your desired program. You'll receive a selection letter from the university confirming your admission. Obtain T number. Along with the selection letter, you'll be assigned a T number, a unique identification code used for administrative purposes, including housing applications. Start early. Begin your housing search promptly upon receiving your selection letter. Housing in Sweden can be competitive, so early action is crucial. Utilize student housing services. Many universities provide housing assistance or have partnerships with accommodation providers. Use these resources to explore student housing options. Apply for student housing. Submit applications for student accommodation through university housing portals or external housing platforms. Use your T number for registration instead of a personal number. Consider alternative options. If university housing is limited, explore other options such as private rentals or shared accommodation. Websites like Blocket and StudentBoat, Facebook Marketplace are useful for finding listings. Prepare necessary documents. Gather required documents including your selection letter, T number, proof of identity, and financial statements for housing applications. Stay flexible. Be open to different housing options and locations to increase your chances of securing accommodation. Flexibility is key, especially in competitive housing markets. Be aware of scams. Exercise caution when dealing with landlords or rental agencies. Avoid paying deposits or rent without viewing the property or signing a legitimate contract. Plan for arrival. Once you've secured housing, plan your arrival in Sweden accordingly. Coordinate with your landlord or housing provider for key collection and move-in details to ensure a smooth transition. Now let's explore why housing contract is important prior arrival in Sweden. The housing contract plays a crucial role in several administrative processes and requirements in Sweden, impacting the acquisition of a personal number, civil registration, meeting migration agency prerequisites, and fulfilling criteria for banking services like opening accounts, obtaining Swish and bank ID, and providing proof of address. Let's delve into how the housing contract influences each aspect. Skatteverket personal number. Personal number. A housing contract is typically a prerequisite for obtaining a personal number from Skatteverket. When applying, proof of address in Sweden, often through a valid housing contract or rental agreement, is essential. However, temporary addresses may suffice temporarily until a permanent residence is secured. Civil registration in Sweden. Civil registration necessitates registering your residence address with Skatteverket. A valid housing contract acts as proof of address and is indispensable for the registration process. Failure to possess a housing contract may impede civil registration. However, temporary addresses can serve as a stopgap measure until a permanent residence is established. It's important to inform the tax department upon obtaining a permanent address. Migration agency, migration circuit, requirements. The migration agency may demand evidence of accommodation in Sweden for your residence permit application. A housing contract serves as proof of secured accommodation, significantly aiding in obtaining a residence permit. Optionally, mentioning registration in housing queues in your visa application can demonstrate proactive accommodation efforts. Bank account, Swish, and bank ID. Swedish banks typically require proof of identity and address to open accounts as they needs to securely send documents and sometimes bank cards to your address. A valid housing contract fulfills the address requirement. Similarly, to utilize services like Swish and bank ID, a Swedish bank account is often necessary, thus making a housing contract crucial for these services. Difficulties may arise in fulfilling address requirements without a housing contract. Eliminates stress. Having accommodation arranged in advance eliminates the stress and uncertainty of finding a place to live in a new country. Saves time. You can save valuable time by not having to search for housing upon arrival, allowing you to focus on settling into your new environment and university. Cost savings. Avoiding temporary accommodation costs, such as hotels or hostels, can save you money in the long run. Smooth transition. Arriving with a place to live already secured allows for a smoother transition into your new life as a student in Sweden. Integration opportunities. Living in a student apartment prior to arrival enables you to integrate into the local community sooner. Fostering relationships and cultural immersion. Enhanced safety. Prearranged student accommodation offers a level of safety and security, providing peace of mind for both you and your family. Convenience. Having a place to call home from day one means you can focus on other important tasks without the added pressure of finding suitable housing. Stable living arrangements. Prearranged accommodation offers stability, providing a sense of security and allowing you to plan for the future with confidence. Access to resources. Student housing often comes with access to amenities and resources that can enhance your living experience, such as communal areas, laundry facilities, and support services. Early familiarization. Living in your student apartment prior to arrival allows you to familiarize yourself with the local area, transportation options, and university facilities, helping you feel more at home sooner. In summary, a housing contract is indispensable for various administrative processes in Sweden. It facilitates the acquisition of a personal number, aids in civil registration and meeting migration agency requirements, and enables access to essential banking services. Ensuring that your housing contract meets necessary criteria is vital for seamless integration into Swedish administrative procedures. Now let us deep dive into 6 different types housing contracts in Sweden. Number 1. First-hand contract or förstahandskontrakt in Swedish. A direct agreement between the tenant and the landlord offers strong legal protections and long-term stability. Availability may be limited, especially in high-demand areas. Strong legal protections for tenants typically offer stable, long-term rental arrangements, provide security of tenure and stability in housing. Notice periods to be around 3 months, but this can vary depending on the terms specified in the contract or by local regulations. Number 2. Sublet contract or second-hand contract or andrahandkontrakt occurs when a tenant rents out their apartment or room to another person. Provides flexibility but may offer fewer legal protections, can be temporary and subject to the primary tenant's lease agreement. The notice period for terminating a sublet contract is usually agreed upon between the primary tenant, sublessor, and the subtenant, sublessee, and outlined in the sublease agreement, often comes with higher rental rates compared to long-term leases. Number 3. Cooperative housing. Bostadsrätt residents own shares in a cooperative housing association. Offers a sense of community and potential for long-term stability, requires upfront investment and ongoing maintenance fees. Limited control over individual units compared to owning property outright. Not a recommended housing option. Number 4. Student housing or studentbostad. These are specifically tailored for students, often with amenities and support services. Typically located near universities and public transportation, may have shared facilities and specific rules for student living. Student apartments in Sweden often have lower rent compared to regular apartments. And the rental period typically covers the duration of the academic year, which is around 10 months. May provide opportunities for socializing and networking with other students. Availability may be limited, especially during peak periods. Rules and regulations regarding noise, guests, and other aspects of communal living may apply. This is the best housing option for students, while others may serve the purpose. Number 5. Furnished housing contract or mobilrat hyresrätt. This includes furniture and appliances provided by the landlord. Convenient for tenants but may come with higher rental rates. Tenants are responsible for maintaining the condition of furnishings. When renting a furnished apartment, tenants may face additional responsibilities and potential risks, especially if they have children or pets. Damage to furniture, such as stains or scratches, can occur, and landlords or rental agencies may hold tenants responsible for repairing or replacing damaged item. Number 6. Commercial lease or hyreskontrakt for lokaler. Notice period. The notice period for departing commercial premises is typically specified in the lease agreement between the landlord and tenant. Common practice. Notice periods for commercial leases can vary widely depending on the terms negotiated between the parties and the type of commercial property involved. These are not suitable for students. These are the main types of housing contracts in Sweden, each with its own characteristics and considerations. It's essential to understand the terms and implications of each type before entering into a rental agreement. Now, let's delve into submitting an application to a housing company in Sweden. For this demonstration, I'll be using an admission letter from a student who has already been accepted to Mälardalen University in Sweden. You'll be able to see the admission letter during the process. Towards the end of the video, as mentioned, I'll be showcasing various housing companies that offer student housing options in different cities and for different universities across the Sweden. Since Mälardalen University is located in Västerås, I'll be using a student housing provider from that area to lodge this application. First, simply search for the name of the housing company on Google. Once you click on the website, you'll find the registration option on the webpage. Just click on it and fill in the required fields, similar to filling out any other application. Feel free to follow my steps simultaneously if you encounter any difficulties. During the registration process, you'll typically encounter two options, one for using a Swedish personal number and the other for those without a personal number. If you're in Sweden, use the personal number option, otherwise, choose the alternative. Some websites may require a T number from the admission letter instead of a personal number. Here are some additional tips for the application process. You'll need to show your annual income in Swedish kronor. A higher annual income increases your chances, as Q points matter the most. Upon registration, you'll be placed in a housing queue, and daily points will accumulate. People with higher Q points have better chances of being called for inspections or offered contracts. Additionally, remember to fill in options regarding the availability of lifts, which can be beneficial when moving out with heavy goods. Also, select areas close to your university, as living closer to campus is advantageous for attending lectures and participating in group activities like coursework. Living in bigger cities like Stockholm may mean that apartments are a bit farther away from home. You may need to purchase train tickets or bus cards for travel, which can cost around 800 kronor. However, students usually receive discounts for transportation, so don't forget to mention that you're a student. Sometimes you might need to travel up to 20 kilometers, which is normal in Stockholm. Nonetheless, securing an apartment close to campus is most beneficial, as it allows you to easily attend lectures and participate in group activities. As promised, I'm excited to present a comprehensive overview of student apartment providers in each city where universities are located. This presentation covers all the famous universities, and there may be multiple slides for each university. On the first slide, you'll find general or common websites in Sweden where student apartments are provided. The subsequent slides are dedicated to specific universities. Depending on your university location, you're allowed to choose the housing providers listed. Keep in mind that the cheapest apartments are in high demand, so it's essential to apply promptly to avoid missing out. As mentioned earlier, Higher queue points increase your chances of securing a spot. When contacting landlords, express your requirements and humble needs, and I'm confident they'll support you, as they have for me. I won't delve further into this topic, as I believe I've covered all the necessary information about student housing contracts in Sweden. Upon your arrival in Sweden, you'll need to visit the landlord to collect your keys and sign the contract. They may send you a dummy contract for signing and returning. I've also published several other videos about studying in Sweden, but they're in Sinhala. Among those videos, there's one where I explain how I submitted my visa application for Sweden. Similarly, this video is also available in Sinhala. All the Sinhala videos are exclusively for Sri Lankan students. I hope you find this video helpful. If you do, please subscribe and share it with your friends. Don't forget to like the video and hit the bell icon to receive notifications for future interesting videos like this one. Let's continue watching the video, and I look forward to meeting you in a similar video in the future.